He had the smile everyone trusted, the kind of man neighbors described as too good to be real. But behind closed doors, the perfect husband was living a second life no one could imagine, and when it finally cracked open, it didn't just destroy a marriage, it exposed a secret that had been hiding for years. No one saw it coming, not even his wife. His name was Daniel Reeves, a 38-year-old project manager living in a quiet suburban town just outside Manchester. To the outside world, Daniel was everything a woman could ask for: calm, respectful, hardworking, and deeply devoted to his wife, Laura. They had been married for 8 years. No scandals. No public fights. No rumors. Just the kind of couple people envied at barbecues and school events. Daniel always left home by 7:30 a.m., kissed Laura on the forehead, and never forgot to text her, "Drive safe," even when she wasn't going anywhere. People called him the perfect husband. Laura believed it too, until the small things started changing. It began with silence. Late-night phone calls he would take outside. A second phone he claimed was work only. Sudden business trips that didn't match his company's schedule. And a new habit: locking his laptop whenever she entered the room. At first, Laura ignored it. Marriage was built on trust, right? But trust doesn't explain why a man showers immediately after coming home, or why he starts smiling less at the person he once couldn't stop talking to. One night, everything shifted. Daniel came home later than usual. His shirt smelled faintly of perfume, not hers. He blamed a crowded train. She nodded, pretending to believe him. But that night, when he fell asleep, Laura did something she had never done before. She checked his phone. What she found made her freeze. There were messages, but not just to one woman. There were at least 2 names saved under fake business contacts. The messages weren't casual either. They were intimate, familiar, dangerous. One message read, "Last night was worth the risk. Same place tomorrow." Laura felt her chest tighten. She didn't scream. She didn't wake him. She just closed the phone and started watching him. Over the next 2 weeks, she became quiet, observant, a shadow in her own home. Daniel didn't notice. That was his first mistake. He thought perfection meant invisibility. But Laura began tracking patterns. Every late meeting matched the same days. Every excuse aligned with the same location. A hotel on the edge of town, one he claimed was used for corporate conferences. So one evening, she followed him. She told him she had a headache and went to bed early. At 8:15 p.m., he left the house in a suit, kissed her forehead like always, and drove away. Laura waited 10 minutes, then followed. Her hands shook the entire drive. And then she saw it. Daniel didn't go to any office. He went straight to the hotel. But what broke her wasn't just that he entered. It was who was waiting for him inside. A woman stepped out of a car just seconds before Daniel arrived. Young, confident. And when they met, there was no hesitation between them. No guilt. Just familiarity. Laura sat in her car, numb, watching the man she married hold another woman's hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. But the truth was still not complete. Not even close. Because when Laura finally confronted him that night, she expected denial, lies, maybe even anger. Instead, Daniel went silent. For a long moment, he didn't speak at all. Then he sat down, as if relieved the mask had finally slipped. "You weren't supposed to find out like this," he said quietly. And then he added something she never expected. "There's more." That's when everything changed. Daniel wasn't just living a double life. He was living a double identity. The women weren't random. They were part of a carefully constructed pattern. Different cities, different names, different versions of himself. And the worst part? Laura wasn't the first wife to discover him. She was the second. Years earlier, Daniel had been married under a different name in another county. That marriage ended abruptly when his first wife vanished from his life after filing for divorce. No explanation, no forwarding address. Laura felt her stomach drop. She had been told he was a widower. That was the story he gave everyone. But it wasn't true. And as she dug deeper in the following days, talking to people he worked with, searching records, connecting dates, she uncovered something even darker. Daniel had a pattern of rebuilding his life every few years. New city,
New job.
new identity, new partner. And every time someone got too close to the truth, he disappeared again. Not always physically, but enough to erase who he had been. The final break came when Laura discovered a hidden storage unit key in his jacket. Inside that unit were boxes.
Dozens of them.
Old IDs.
Phones.
Photos. Letters from women who had all believed they were the only one. And at the very back, a folder labeled simply, Reset Plan. It contained detailed notes on how he chose his next identity, how he built trust quickly, how he covered emotional trails, and how he avoided detection. This wasn't chaos. It was methodical, controlled, practice. When police were finally called, Daniel didn't resist. He just sat calmly, almost like he had been expecting it. Investigators later confirmed multiple identities across different regions and relationships that had never been connected before. He wasn't just a cheating husband. He was something far more calculated. A man who built lives just to abandon them. Laura moved out before the case even made the news. When reporters asked her what shocked her most, she paused for a long time before answering. It wasn't that he lied to me, she said quietly. It's that I believed I knew him at all. And somewhere in a holding cell, Daniel Reeves reportedly said one final thing to investigators. I was always the same person. They just never looked closely enough. But the truth was simpler. He had been perfect because perfection was the disguise.